Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. As you know, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, running for United States Congress in Virginia's 8th District, which includes Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. We have over 100 different nations represented in Arlington County. And all of them support the Palestinian state. 100 nations represented in America, in Arlington County. All the immigrants who came here, India, Pakistan, they all support Palestinian statehood, that Palestinians deserve a nation of their own. And, both Indians and Pakistanis, there may be enemies, but they both believe that Palestinians must have a nation because Jews from Europe came and stole the land of Palestinians away using force and coercion. So, even countries that are enemies like Israel, like India and Pakistan, they are 100% united and agreed in pushing for a nation for Palestine, to kick the Jews out of West Bank and Gaza. So that is something that is united throughout the world. The only nation that disagrees with that is Israel, obviously, because it's their country. But so we talked about we're in this together. And, the world, 100 different nations believe that we are in this together to ensure that Palestinians have their own nation. So that's something that all the nations around the world have supported and voted for in the United Nations. It's unified. The whole world believes that we're in this together to make sure that Palestinians have their own nation, their own country. So that's something that, the world has been fighting for the last 40 years. And who knows, maybe God will give Palestinians their Christmas gift. And a Palestinian nation will be born. Who knows, we have to see, to the Palestinians, God may be the Santa that they've been waiting for, And God's reindeers are, his holy angels, I guess, because I'm sure holy angels will get involved in ensuring that there's a Palestinian state, if that is God's will. It's kind of, there are a lot of Palestinian Christians, for 2,000 years of Christian history, since Jesus was born and, according to the Gospels, Jesus was killed by the Jews. That's what the Gospel says, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Book of Acts. I'm just quoting the Bible, so don't get all hot and heavy here. So since Jesus was born and had his ministry and was killed by the Jews, as stated by the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John Gospels, Palestinians have been Christians, who protected the holy sites. You have, we had Church of Nativity from the very beginning, and it's a continuous church. Christians have been there, like Benedictine monks, and you had all these different Catholic missionaries. There was only one church at the time, Catholic Church. Proselytized the converted local people. So for 2,000 years, you had like Palestinian Christians, or we call them Palestinian now, but they're just Christians in the area who worshipped in these churches. Church of Nativity, which is in Bethlehem, which is the church that marks and celebrates the birth of Jesus. And I went there and attended Latin Mass for 3 hours on Christmas Eve midnight. So for 3 hours, it was a wonderful worship service. Obviously, you have some Jews who converted to Christianity who are also at the worship service, because you have a lot of Jewish Christians, Jews who converted to Christianity. They say like 10% of Baptist church is like Jews who converted to Christian church. But I talked to a lot of Baptist Christians. They're like, yeah, and back when, I had like a Jewish ancestry. I've heard a lot of Baptists say that, so they kind of know, but they don't really care. It's like saying, I'm like German, way back when, but I'm American Christian now. So that's how like many Jews who converted to Christianity, whether it was like a generation ago or 2 generations ago or 3 generations ago or 100 generations ago. It doesn't really matter. So when Jews convert to Christianity, 99% of them don't really care about their Jewish identity, because Christian holidays they conflict with Jewish holidays, and you either celebrate Easter or Passover, right? You don't really celebrate both. Because in the New Testament, the idea is that Passover was replaced by the Lord's Supper or Easter, right? And Hanukkah was replaced by Christmas. So you don't really celebrate Jewish holidays if you're a Jew compared to Christianity. You just celebrate Christian holidays. So I guess it makes sense. That like 10% of Christians who are Jews, uh, formerly, long time ago, or 30 years ago, or 10 years ago, 5 years ago, they abandoned Judaism. It makes sense. You don't have German Americans like who've been here for a long time, like think of themselves primarily as German, right? They think of themselves as American, like American Christian. And so, yeah, it's just that's the way that is. They say, in Hitler's Germany, many of the Nazi SS officers were Jews who converted to Christianity. Um, in Germany, you have Lutherans and Catholics. So either they converted, or their parents converted, or their grandparents converted, and there are Nazi officers killing Jews because they no longer saw themselves as Jews; they saw themselves as Christians. And obviously, Hitler was 1/8 Jewish. He's like great grandmother or great grandmother was of Jewish descent. Obviously, Hitler tried to hide that fact, but I have friends here who have grandmother who's Jewish, or like grandmother, grandfather who's Jewish, but they converted to Christianity for whatever reason, and their parents are Christian and they themselves are Christian, and so they have some Jewish relatives, but I mean it's like that in Virginia's 8th district as well. You have all over Arlington, Alexandria, Falls, and Fairfax County. A lot of Jews who converted to Christianity, and they denounce their Jewish identity. They're no longer considering themselves as Jewish. Most of them. Um, And that was like that in Germany, Nazi Germany. There were Jewish Christians who don't call themselves Jewish Christians. They just say we're Christians, we're German citizens, so we're German Christians. So just like in America, there are Jews converted to Christianity who don't call themselves Jew. I'm a Jewish Christian. They don't say that. They say I'm a Christian. And I'm an American citizen, so I'm proud to be American. I'm a Christian. They don't go around and say I'm Jewish Christian. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard a Jew converted to Christianity going around saying I'm a Jewish Christian. They just say I'm a Christian. You know what I mean? So it's like so in Nazi Germany, you had a lot of Jews who converted to Christianity leading the Holocaust. And so a lot of SS officers were of Jewish origin. Several generations ago they're Jewish, and then they converted. And if you see in Germany, like in America, just think of your Jewish friends. How many of them have blue eyes and blonde hair? Like if they didn't call themselves Jewish, they would be German. They could be like a Nazi, the Aryan race. I mean, you see these Jews in America, if they say I'm an Aryan race, they lie to you and say, I'm an Aryan race, I believe in white supremacy. There's no way you're going to think that they're not Aryan race. They have blonde hair, blue eyes. They look Aryan. Majority of the Jews I know have blonde hair and blue eyed, or brown hair and blue eyed, Um, you know, how many non-blue-eyed Jews do you know? Um, I mean, so this is America, and the Ashkenazi Jews, Jews from Europe, reign supreme. And so obviously you won't have that. Yeah, but it was like that in Germany too. So it's like it's just and a lot of Jews, even Jews who aren't religiously Jewish, going to synagogues and conservative synagogues, Reform synagogue, Orthodox synagogue, they support the Jewish Palestinian statehood. A lot of Jews believe that Palestinians should have their say. So, like, I would say out of 6 million Jews in America, majority of the Jews in America want to see a Palestinian state. Majority of the Jews in America see Israel as a racist nation. Your Jewish friends might not say that to you, but that's what they believe. I'm an expert of Jews, and I lived in Israel for over 3 years, so I met like hundreds of Jews from hundreds of different nations. The majority of them, who go to conservative synagogue or reform synagogue, what they believe the Palestinians should have their own country, that it was wrong for Jews to steal Palestine. So at least the conservative Jews and reform Jews I talked to in Israel, because I had a lot of Jewish friends, and they're like that in America too. Conservative Jews and reform Jews, they believe that it was morally wrong um, to kick Palestinians off of their land, to like take their land and start a nation of Israel. So majority of American Jews who are practicing Jews believe that state of Israel did violations of morality or crimes against humanity and founding the state of Israel. So the majority of the Jews in America believe that. And so, it's, you can't be a liberal in a Democratic Party and support Israel, right? It goes against the concept of, equality and, respect for poor people, because Palestinians were poor, Europeans were rich, and they came and they stole poor people's land because they could, they had the money. And so, you can't call yourself a card-carrying Democrat, liberal, progressive, and support Israel. Anyone who supports Israel, by definition, is a colonizer, is a racist. And in liberal circles around the world, if you say support Israel, you're automatically declared to be a racist, because most liberal progressives around the world believe that founding of the state of Israel was the most racist thing that happened in the history of humankind. And that's why, Bishop Desmond Tutu from Africa said, Israel right now is an apartheid state. It's like, it's a segregated apartheid state. So, religious leaders, in the Episcopalian Church, United Methodist Church, all condemn Israel as a racist nation. So that's something that everybody agrees on a religious level. So, like Episcopalian Church priests, United Methodist Church priests in Arlington, Alexandria Falls, Church of Fairfax County, they all agree that Israel is a racist nation that subjugates and enslaves the Palestinian people. That's something that all the Episcopalian priests, Catholic priests, United Methodist priests, and social justice-minded clergy of all backgrounds, that's what they believe. So so I would say majority of Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County white people, they are against the Jewish nation of Israel, oppressing the Palestinian people. They'll come out and tell you, if you ask them, do you support Palestinian nation? They'll say yes. Majority of the people in Regions 8 district will say, we are in solidarity with the Palestinian people. As you know, 70% voted for Don Beyer for past 10 years. And one of the things that Liberal progressivism emphasizes is we must give nation to Palestine. Jewish nation of Israel is an apartheid state, is a racist nation, it's a colonialist nation. So you can be guaranteed at least 70% of the people in Arlington, Alexandria, Washington, Fairfax County uh, think of Israel as a racist nation, and anyone who supports Israel as a racist. And that kind of movement is spreading all over the United States in college campuses, especially in the pop culture, Generation X, Generation Y. They consider Israel as a racist nation. And I'm talking about Jews here. I'm not talking about non-Jews. Like Jewish young people in college right now, they see Israel as a racist nation, an apartheid nation, and that's part of being liberal progressive in America's college campuses is to oppose Israel. So obviously, if you go to Georgetown, everybody's in solidarity with Palestinian people. You walk to Georgetown University, you see so many like pro-Palestinian things. You understand like why that is, because liberal progressivism condemns anybody who supports Israel as a racist, Um, yeah, like if you say you support Israel, you're racist in the minds of everyone who cares about that kind of issue. Yeah, by definition, you're a racist if you support Israel. So, if you want to be called a racist, support Israel. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do what you want, but obviously, Matthew, Mark, and Luke and John condemns Israel as a nation that killed Jesus Christ. So, true Christians do not support Israel, like Jewish nation of Israel. They support like the New Jerusalem in Revelations, where Jesus is king of the new Israel, New Jerusalem. But true Christians do not support like a Jewish nation of Israel, where Jewish people reject Jesus Christ as their king. Just because they follow the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John gospel. So you can bet, majority of evangelical Christians are very anti-Israel because of that. So it makes a lot of sense, um, you know, um, why a lot of evangelicals, you know, uh, did not vote for Donald Trump because he was too pro Israel, and evangelical Christians are kind of anti-Israel. Majority of evangelical Christians are anti-Israel. So, I mean that makes sense. If Donald Trump wasn't so aggressively pro-Israel, he would have gotten more votes, obviously, from evangelical Christians. And as I said, there's only like a fringe group, maybe less than 1% of evangelicals, who blindly support Israel. But you're gonna have fanatics in every place, But history of evangelicalism, history of Protestantism has been, just like history of Catholicism, very anti-Jewish, it's built into the system, so you cannot escape it. Um, and in Judaism, there is talk of like Christian anti-Semitism, meaning all Christians are anti-Semitic because they believe in the gospel, they follow the gospel, which is anti-Semitic. So that notion exists in Judaism. So you can understand why Protestants, 1 billion Protestants, 1 billion Catholics, they all hate Israel. It makes sense, right? For all 100 nations in United Nations condemn Israel, every single European nation condemns Israel as being racist and apartheid. Um, you got to imagine why do 100% of European nations condemn Israel as racist, right? There's a reason for that. 100% of Asia condemns Israel as racist. I mean, there isn't one nation in Asia that says Israel is not a racist nation, Name them, and India calls Israel a racist nation, and they're Hindu. Pakistan calls Israel a racist nation. South Korea calls Israel a racist nation. North Korea calls Israel a racist nation. China calls Israel a racist nation. Philippines calls Israel a racist nation. Sri Lanka calls Israel a racist nation. Indonesia calls Israel a racist nation. Japan calls Israel a racist nation. There isn't a nation in Asia, all of Asia, that doesn't condemn Israel as a racist nation. Yeah, it's just the way it is. And it's the way it's going to be for the next 1,000 years if Jesus doesn't come back. Um, life is like that. So that's why there is this thing called International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. Throughout the world right now, there are people celebrating International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. And a lot of Christians, but even non-Christians, India obviously is a Hindu nation, and Pakistan is a Muslim nation, and Korea is a Buddhist nation, and Japan is like a Shinto nation, and China is a communist nation, and France, Germany, England, Spain, they're Western democracies, they all condemn Israel as a racist nation. That's where everybody's unified and united in the world. Yeah, so if you support Israel, you're basically a racist. That's something that is agreed throughout the world. I guess you could choose to be a racist. You're not a slave. If you want to be racist and support Israel, go right ahead. Nobody's stopping you. We have the First Amendment right. If you want to be racist and support Israel, go right ahead. Yeah, I believe that there should be a Palestinian nation, and that Jewish settlements from West Bank and Gaza should leave because they're occupying areas that they should not be occupying. It's wrong. It's morally wrong. It's like breaking the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal, and it's just not respecting people of color like that. It's just morally wrong, and obviously in the book of Revelation, the New Jerusalem, New Israel is where Jesus Christ is going to be king and God. And the modern state of Israel right now doesn't respect Jesus as God. So obviously it's not the fulfillment of prophecy, right? I mean, obviously, Schofield and Darby was wrong. They're not God. We follow the Bible. We don't follow like human beings. Yeah. So revise what you need to revise to come into compliance with the Bible. But yeah. I mean, solidarity with the Palestinian people is something that everybody can agree with. All the Christians, 100% of the Christians can agree with, based on the Gospel of Matthew, Gospel of Mark, Gospel of Luke, Gospel of John. So yeah, I mean, sooner you revise your position to conform with the Gospels of Jesus Christ in the New Testament, the better off you will be, right? Because at the end of the day, people can be wrong, but the Holy Bible is never wrong, right? Yeah, so solidarity with the Palestinian people. That's where Virginia's 8th district stands. Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church of Fairfax County stands with the Palestinian people. Yeah. I think there are some evangelical pastors who are taking 30 shekels of silver from Jewish communities to support Israel, even though they know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John condemns Israel, But you're gonna have Judas Iscariot in every place, Sometimes, people cannot reject the money. That's why you have Judas Iscariot. Yeah, President Trump said in 2016 when he won, we will say Merry Christmas again. Yay, none of these happy holidays. We will say Merry Christmas again. That's how Americans feel. United States of America is a nation of 300 plus million Christians. We all want to say Merry Christmas. Or Feliz Navidad. We are united in United States of America. Feliz Navidad. Or Merry Christmas. Or in England, they say Happy Christmas. Yeah, being a Christian, I like being a Christian. Majority of, Arlington, Alexandria, Foster, the Fairfax County are Christian, whether you're black or Latino. Like Latino is like 100% are Christians. Or white, majority of them are Christians, black, Hispanic, Asian. I mean, majority of us are Christians, and which is interesting. Probably over 90%. So, yeah, and if you're Muslim, you still celebrate Christmas because Jesus is one of the prophets. So Muslims have no problem celebrating Christmas or saying Feliz Navidad or Merry Christmas to you if they're Muslim, because Jesus is one of the prophets in the Islamic faith. If you're a Hindu, Jesus is a god in the Hindu religion. So there's no reason for all the Hindus can say Merry Christmas without any problem. You know what I'm saying? you know, nobody has problem saying Merry Christmas. Yeah. So, so why would you have a blue Christmas if you don't have somebody? Is there somebody you would need for Christmas without whom it will be a blue Christmas? Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to die before Christmas from COVID-19. So you may lose your child from COVID-19. You may lose your, parents from COVID-19. You may lose your husband from COVID-19. You know, so it's going to be a sad Christmas in one level because people are going to die. But if they're true Christians, they go to heaven. So it's bittersweet, right? Yeah, Kim Davis is one of my heroes in history. She went to prison because she opposed gay marriage. That's what God wants. God wants Christians to go to jail for opposing Christian marriage. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Because you may have Romans chapter 1. So, yeah, I mean, God is very serious about homosexuality. And that's why God gave us Romans chapter 1 in the New Testament as a guidance. So, I have high respect for Kim Davis. That's how every Christian should be. You should be willing to go to prison for opposing gay marriage. I mean, that's like built into the Bible. Of course, if you're going to be paid off with 30 shekels of silver uh, to betray Jesus Christ and support Israel, you're not going to oppose gay marriage aggressively, and it makes sense because you betrayed Jesus with 30 shekels of silver. So, I don't trust anybody who supports Israel, like Israel, which is like a Israel that doesn't recognize Jesus as God, because and if they refuse to correct themselves, if they refuse to recant, then obviously they're not true Christians. Burn them at the stake. Yay, burn them at the stake. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not into human barbecues here. I like, barbecue. But pork barbecue or beef barbecue or chicken barbecue, those are what I like. Yeah, I mean, Jesus will burn you at the stake, forever. Because hell is like, you fire forever. So, I leave that up to Jesus. Jesus is the cruel God. Jesus is kind of mean. I'm nice. So, yeah, but, Jesus is going to be the one burning you in hell. But yeah, Jesus can be very mean. What can you say? Bible says so. Um, yeah, you know, uh, this is Thanksgiving weekend, so this is the last day of Thanksgiving weekend. So you have 829 COVID-19 deaths reported, but you know, because of Thanksgiving weekend, a lot of people are not reporting anything. So that's why the numbers are low. It's not like only 829 people died in the last 24 hours. It's probably more like 2,500, but reporting is kind of problematic because every state gets report from cities and counties, right? And not all the counties are reporting. not all the cities are reporting, So that's happening in all 50 states because Thanksgiving is a major holiday in America. So people are kind of spending time with family. But the photos that you see in front of me was California Day. I'm in Washington D.C. area. Arlington County in Virginia is next to Washington D.C. But there's this California Society, and I'm a member of that. And California Society has these events that celebrate California. And as you know, I've been an executive board member of UCLA Alumni Association as a treasurer. So I went and represented, UCLA. I've been an executive board member for like over 3 years in different capacities. So I represented, UCLA, and got to meet a lot of interesting people, like UCLA alumni. And they're really nice, and happy to see me. And we had a fun time talking and chatting and getting to know each other better. There are a lot of UCLA alumni, in the area. There's about 6,000. Not as many as Georgetown University alumni. As you know, I'm an alumni from Georgetown University. I was the vice president of graduate student government at Georgetown University, which represents 9,000 graduate students. Many of whom live in Arlington, like in Roslyn, or some of our graduate students live a little bit further away in Crystal City, or Pentagon City, or near the courthouse in Arlington, or um, just all over Arlington, Shirlington. Some live in Shirlington. So I live in a heavily Latino concentrated area. you know, zip code 22204. Um, with Professor Lorraine Spencer, my nursing professor from Georgetown University, who was a nurse at in Arlington County Public Schools for a long time, and a leader there, told me that this is the poorest zip code in Arlington, 22204. So I guess I live in the poorest zip code in Arlington. What can I say? Hey, I like it here. I like people here. you know, uh, but yeah. But it is what it is, I guess, right? Um, but but all of us here support the Palestinian statehood. You know what I'm saying? Like 99 of us, 99% of us. you know, what can we say? Life is like that. People don't like injustices. People don't like to see, like mistreatment of colored people, like, taking of their homes by force just because they're poor. You know, people just don't like that. Yeah, so yeah, California, many of the U.S. House of Representatives seats went to Republicans. Democrats lost all these U.S. House of Representative seats in California. Why do you think that is? Some say it's karma. Karma is like a Hindu term for what Americans say is what goes around comes around. But what goes around comes around. Can I get a 5 on that? What goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. Yeah, so it's a numbers thing, I guess. If you have the numbers, you can flip the houses. Um, yeah. So right now, COVID-19 is a serious problem all over America, as you know. Although it's Christmas season, so it's nice, and it's to be joyful in Jesus. As some of us die and some of us go to hospital, we can at least be happy about it, right? Christmas is a great season because for true Christians, if you die, you go to heaven. So yes, you don't want to die because you have loved ones on earth. But if for some reason God takes you home to heaven, it's not so bad either because it actually is better. You're eternally in heaven, touring with Jesus, right? So it's like Christians have a mixed feeling about COVID and COVID death. You know what I mean? I mean, we don't want to die from COVID because we want to live on earth and do good things on earth and help people and, be there for our relatives and loved ones. But, heaven is so much better. You know what I mean? And that's why St. Paul said, to live is Christ, to die is gain. Harry's like, gee, gee, you know? Um, yeah, so there are 13,376,000 113 cases of COVID-19 in America right now. And the deaths are at 266,838. Yeah, so yeah, Latin America is the continent of death. So Brazil is number one with 6,314,740 cases of COVID-19. The death is at 172,833. Argentina is number two with 1,418,807. Deaths are at 38,473. And Colombia is number three with 1,308,376. 36,584 people have died. That's a 3% death rate. And Mexico is number four, and it's 1,101,403 cases. And the death rate is 105,459. 10% death rate. You know, like in the book of Revelations, it prophesies that Jerusalem will be surrounded by Gentile armies and completely destroyed. So theologians for 2,000 years have predicted that before Jesus comes back, Jewish nation of Israel will completely be destroyed. So throughout history, people have kind of took 70 AD when Romans came in and completely destroyed Israel. They're Gentile, right? Gentiles armies came and destroyed Israel. They saw that as a prophetic fulfillment before Jesus comes back. But Jesus did not come back. And the Jewish nation was founded. So many theologians said, oh, so I guess the 70 AD when Israel was completely destroyed was not the fulfillment of the Revelation's prophecy before the return of Jesus, so that it will happen again in the future before Jesus actually comes back. So many Christian theologians are predicting that the current Jewish nation of Israel will be completely destroyed, like wiped off the map, before Jesus comes back. So, you know, they don't know how that's going to happen, whether it's going to be Arab nations who do that, or, you know, it could be European nation, it could be America, you know, for all you know. It could be Russia. No one really knows how Revelation's prophecy is going to be fulfilled, but, you know, many Christian theologians realized that when the Jewish nation of Israel was founded, that before Jesus comes back, Jewish nation of Israel have to be completely destroyed again, because Revelation's prophecy exists. Right? There's a pattern to Revelation's prophecy, and there's a part where it says Israel has to be destroyed. Most Christian theologians are expecting Israel to be completely wiped off the map at some point before Jesus comes back. I mean, obviously, eternity is what Jesus thinks of. You know, when we talk about Jesus and as God, we say God is eternal. So we don't know what the timeline will be. You know, there's like a days are like 1,000 years to God, according to the Bible. So, I mean, Israel can be wiped off from the map this year, next year, 50 years from now, 100 years from now. But, you know, most Christian theologians who take Revelation seriously, that verse seriously, they're expecting Israel to be wiped off the map of the world. It's happened to Israel a couple of times. It's happened to Israel in the Old Testament when Babylonians came in and wiped it off the map of the world, and Israel ceased to exist as a nation. So it wasn't on the map. Like you see the map, there's no nation of Israel. And then, we have the Hosea, the return of exiles from Babylon to Israel to build a second temple, Beit Shani. And so Israel again entered the map of the world as a country. And then it existed, a couple hundred years, a few hundred years. And then Romans destroyed it, and it was wiped off the map of the world for 2,000 years. And when Jewish nation of Israel was founded in 1948, it entered the map of the world again. Um, but it raised some theological questions because before the second coming of Jesus, Jerusalem has to be surrounded by Gentile armies and destroyed. So some Christian theologians say, well, in order for that prophecy to be fulfilled, Jerusalem has to become Jewish. You see what I mean? Because the idea is Jewish capital of Jerusalem will be surrounded by Gentile armies and completely destroyed. And so some say when President Trump moved the capital or the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, it is part of the prophecy leading up to the complete destruction of Jerusalem and Israel as a nation. Because the Revelation prophecy doesn't say Gentile armies will surround Tel Aviv or Jaffa and completely destroy it. It says Gentile armies will surround Jerusalem and completely destroy it. So Jerusalem, it's a synecdoche, meaning Jerusalem is the capital city. It represents the nation of Israel. And so, well, technically, Israelis claim Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, although all the countries in the world don't recognize it as such, until America moved the embassy to Jerusalem. So even if, some of the theologians are saying, well, even if no one recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, still Israelis are claiming it's the capital of Israel. So Revelation's prophecy is still technically coming true if Gentile armies surround it and then destroy it, like fulfillment of prophecy and completely destroy the Jewish nation of Israel. So it ceases to exist as a nation. But other theologians are saying, well, just because Israelis claim itself to be a nation, a capital of Israel, doesn't make it a capital of Israel. Others have to recognize it as a capital of Israel. And so when President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, I mean, he was probably thinking he was doing a favor to Israelis. But from a theological perspective or fulfillment of the prophecy perspective, now, you have a major nation, maybe the most powerful nation in the world, recognizing Jerusalem as the capital officially by moving the embassy there. So now the book of Revelation prophecy can come true where Gentile armies can surround Jerusalem and destroy it. So, it's kind of an interesting development. So let's see, it can happen in your lifetime. It can happen in the next 3 years. It may happen after you die in the next lifetime, next century, years 2000, 115 or whatever, So let's see, where history is headed. But that is an interesting development, because you know what the Bible says, people make all the plans, but the one who decides what happens is God. I'm paraphrasing, but it's there. I mean, and I see like Book of Revelation prophecy coming together, right? Which is kind of fascinating because you don't always intend it in the way that Book of Revelations is intending it. You're thinking you're doing it for other reasons, but you're actually doing it in fulfillment of Book of Revelations unbeknownst to you, So we call it guiding hand of God in history or providence of God in history, God's in control. That's what we say. When you like this, I got a penguin, right? So keep the penguin, keep the penguin for Christmas season. And obviously Christmas is not complete without a British soldier. So you have Martin, the British soldier. It's Christmas time. It's time to be happy, everyone. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. But yeah, I mean, even if people die, what are you going to not celebrate Christmas? You know what I'm saying? So Peru is number 5 in terms of COVID-19 death. 960,368 people have gotten it, and 35,879. Hopefully you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. So when you die, you go to heaven. That's what I hope for you, because eternity would be horrible if you have to spend it in hell burning to death, but not dying, because it's eternal death, like be burning forever. You know what I mean? That would be like horrible. I hope that doesn't happen to you. Yeah. So today's theme is hospitalization at peak. So United States is entering its own COVID-19 hell, which I predicted months ago. My predictions are coming true. Dr. Fauci was proven wrong, because he's like, oh, it's not going to be so bad, That's what he was saying in the summer. I'm like, what? Is Dr. Fauci crazy? you know. But I was right. Dr. Fauci's wrong. I was right. No. When you wear these like antlers, you feel like a child. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I was right. I told you so, Dr. Fauci. I told you so. But I mean, I'd rather be wrong though, to be honest with you. But what can I say? I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of the 21st century. I'm going to be right. So it makes perfect sense that I'm right when Dr. Fauci's wrong. That's why I'm sure Dr. Fauci is watching this episode every day. Hi, Dr. Fauci. You want me to get you one of these and wear them too? You gotta take life. Because as Salman, the Druzi, who is an Israeli secret police, who was protecting me in Jerusalem on behalf of the Jewish state of Israel, used to say, life is what you make it, so make the best of it. Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Where would you be without Christmas? People are dying everywhere, and it's just something to be happy about. Geez, Christmas gives hope. It's real. You know what I mean? Not like the vaccines that's going to fail. That's not real. It's fake. You know what I'm saying? But Christmas is real. Navidad. Yeah, like set up your, nativity scenes and Christmas lights. Yeah, celebrate the birth of Jesus, It'll give you joy, your children joy. Yeah, your neighbors joy. Yeah, many of you will have blue Christmas because, you may have your son die or your daughter die, your mom die, or your dad die, or your husband die. It's going to be a very sad Christmas, but you can sing this song, but you could also sing Feliz Navidad song. It's like one of those joyful, bittersweet moments, because you were happy that Jesus was born. So you're celebrating birth of Jesus, but you're kind of sad that your child died from COVID, or your husband died from COVID. So that's going to be like a mixed feeling in about a month when you celebrate Christmas, because many of you will have people die, some of you have your children die, and hospitalizations are spiking. That's right, you can expect. That's what you say, right? So the first article is U.S. breaks record for daily COVID-19 hospitalizations. And that's in New York Post by Jackie Salo for today. More people were hospitalized for COVID-19 nationwide on Saturday, that was yesterday, than ever before during the month-long pandemic. We broke all-time record for hospitalization since the beginning yesterday when I was working at Virginia Hospital Center. Yeah, come to Virginia Hospital Center if you need services. for health. All the nurses are great, all the doctors are good, and you may get treated by me, right? Yeah, so come to Virginia Hospital Center. Um, yeah, more people were hospitalized for COVID-19 nationwide on Saturday than ever before during the month-long pandemic, with 91,635 patients currently admitted over the virus, data shows. The new high on Saturday comes after hospitalization numbers dipped the day before for the first time in 30 straight days. Uh, First time, so you're like, oh, good things are happening, but no, don't let that number fool you because remember, people are on Thanksgiving break. Um, so, according to the COVID tracking project, hospitalizations have gone up every day since October 25th, except for Friday. I told you it's going to keep going up. Hospitalizations are going to keep going up soon. The deaths are going to keep going up. And then we're going to have over 10,000 deaths per day sometime in December. And then we're going to have like 3 to 30 million Americans die by June 2021. I told you that, right? So everything is coming true, just like I said. When hospitalization have gone up every day since October 25th, except for Friday. And Friday's decrease was probably related to holiday data reported on a 1-day delay or 7-day delay. Um, yeah, so yeah. So second article is about California, and that's why I shared these photos from California Society. No longer can we have events like that. Probably for the foreseeable future. Maybe for 10 years, we won't have events like that ever. So, yeah, we live in the new normal. This is what you're going to have for the next 10 years, maybe next 20 years, most likely. Yeah, so, yeah, no, none of the socializing stuff. Yeah, you go to socialize like that in California society, that's like asking for death. Um, yeah, so California sets record with most COVID-19 hospitalizations since pandemic began. And that's in Los Angeles Times from today. Alex Wigglesworth and Wong Jung Lin Lee, or Lin the second, I guess. Um, California has more people hospitalized with COVID-19 than at any time since the pandemic began. Right? Oh man. An ominous sign that comes as officials warn of further virus spread after the long holiday weekend. And that's Thanksgiving holiday. The rising numbers raise new concerns about hospitals filling up in coming weeks. Yes, many hospitals all over America will fill up in coming weeks. I'm predicting that all the hospitals in Virginia's 8th District, 10th District, 11th District, in Washington, D.C., Montgomery County, Prince George County, they all will fill up in December. A lot of people are going to die in this area. This is the COVID hotspot area. Because of a lot of movement. You have all these senators and House of Representative members. You have all the staffers flying and moving around. So, this is like a COVID death spot. Especially those of you who work for like government, government sector, who have to fly around and move around. I mean, you're tempting fate. Yeah, so a lot of people are going to die in this area, unfortunately. Yeah, so which has been predicted as coronavirus cases surge to unprecedented levels. Oh, the rising numbers raises new concern about hospitals filling up in coming weeks, which has been predicted as coronavirus cases surge to unprecedented levels across the state, and particularly Los Angeles County. That's where UCLA, right? That's in Los Angeles County. What did you do wrong, UCLA, to deserve this? Or what did you do wrong, Los Angeles, to deserve this? You know what I'm saying? You must have done something wrong, karma. What goes around comes around. Can I get a 5 on what goes around comes around? What goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. No, I mean, obviously, I love Los Angeles. I love UCLA. So I feel sad that this is happening. LA has the most number of Koreans in the world, in America. Like we have like a million Koreans there. So, I worry a lot about them. Hopefully they're Christians, so when they die from COVID, they'll go to heaven and not eternal damnation. Now, that's what I'm hoping, that they're true Christians, not just going to church, but true Christians. Um, because a lot of people are going to die in LA. That's just expected, unfortunately. Because you have more cases, more hospitalizations, obviously it's going to end up in more deaths. And that's the unfortunate part of it. What can you do, right? That this is a global pandemic. I mean, you gotta live in the real world, not in the fictional world. Liberal media keeps saying, "Oh, the vaccine will save you. The vaccine will save you." That's what they said in Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. They gave vaccine to millions of people. All of them died. I mean, all of them who got COVID died who had vaccine. That's what's going to happen this time too. Um, COVID-19 is very complicated. It's mutating. There's like over the thousands of strains. Vaccine is not going to be effective. You know, um, that's the problem with global pandemic. Is because it's spreading so fast and it's passing through so many different people, it gets mutated, so the vaccine cannot work. That's the problem with like global pandemics. Um, you know, Vaccine cannot keep up with the mutation, even if it were working. I'm not saying it's working, but if it were working, it still cannot keep up with the mutations. Um, and that's why none of the vaccines will work. Even if, I don't believe that there are vaccines that work, but let's pretend they are. Even if there are vaccines that actually work, they won't work in the real world. Because people are getting infected so quickly and so many people at the same time. It's just everything is being meshed together, and all these mutations, vaccine cannot keep up with them. Why do you think none of the vaccines worked in 1918? And everybody got COVID, died. A lot of people who had vaccines got COVID and not COVID, Spanish flu pandemic, and died. Um, yeah, so don't believe in the liberal media. Even if you get vaccinated, just expect to get COVID and die if you're not doing exactly what you're doing now. Which is to say, your life is not going to change at all. You know what I'm saying? That's the point. That's the point. Even if you get vaccinated, you cannot change your life in any way. You know what I mean? You're going to do exactly the same thing that you're doing now, socially isolating, staying at home, not going out on dates, if you want to live. It doesn't matter whether you get the vaccine or not. Your life is not going to change in any way. Um, and I'm going to say, vaccines not only not going to work, but there's be side effects that can kill you. I mean, that's a possibility that needs to be talked about because, there have been adverse vaccine reactions in the history of vaccines, especially vaccines that have not been properly vetted. So that's a worry that should be discussed in the media, but liberal media doesn't discuss what they need to discuss, right? Um, a wave of new restrictions on personal gatherings and capacity levels at stores take effect on Monday, that's tomorrow. But there are concerns that the surge will get worse before it gets better. It's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. Due to Thanksgiving celebration and Black Friday shopping. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. We have 6 months, basically on flu season left, 6 more months. We're in November. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, like more than 6 months. I mean, flu season probably technically ends like in May, around May or April, May, but still. Third article is about us in Virginia's 8th district. For all of you who live in Arlington County like I do, or Alexandria, Falls Church, or Fairfax County, um, Virginia's COVID-19 hospitalizations hit new high. Loudoun, which is Loudoun County, which is in Northern Virginia, has 10,000 cases. This is by staff and then Inside Nova. Um, November 29, 2020, that's today. So the significant quote from the article is, Yeah, how cool is that? You know? Oh, Rudolph, I'll give you a hug. um, yeah, so let's read the important part of the article here. The number of Virginians hospitalized for treatment of COVID-19 hit a new high Sunday. That's today. An average number of new cases continue to set records both statewide and in Northern Virginia. The Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association reported Sunday morning, that's today morning, that 1,628 patients were hospitalized statewide, surpassing pandemic prior peak of 1,625. So we broke the record today. This Sunday, we broke the record in Virginia for most hospitalizations in the pandemic period. So we have broken a milestone. We have turned the corner in a negative way. We are headed toward death. La massive COVID-19 death in Virginia now. That's what this article is pointing at. This is a turning point to massive Virginian death. It's sad, but that's true. Pandemic's prior peak of 1,625 set on May 8th. At that time, about half the hospitalizations were in Northern Virginia. Now they are more evenly spread out. Why? Because colleges opened up. I told you, Virginia Governor Northam, that you need to issue an executive order to require all the colleges to go online. I told you that you need to have all the public schools go online, but you didn't listen. So now everywhere, COVID-19 is spreading everywhere, like crazily. Thankfully, because of me, Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, although I may run as a Republican for 2 years, 2022, um, because of me, I worked 3 months to lobby to close down all the public schools in Virginia's 8th District, Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. These are like 4 big school districts. Our COVID cases are lower. You should thank me. I saved your life, your children's life. If Virginia's 8th District public schools open, like Don Beyer wanted, like Jennifer Waxton wanted, like Jerry Connolly wanted, we would have so many COVID-19 cases now, it would not be funny. So you owe me, you owe me. Everybody in Virginia's 8th District, you owe me. I saved you and your children. But yeah, you see, like having a good leader like me, like Moses, who leads his people to safety, can alter the history of a state. You see what I'm saying? One person can alter the history of a state, alter the history of a nation, alter the history of the world, right? Because Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County listened to me, Heerak Christian Kim, and did not open, right? Because many of you out there listened to me and emailed, phone called, and contacted your congressman or your leaders, local leaders, county leaders, city leaders, your principal and your superintendent. And because you followed my lead, we closed down Virginia's 8th District with no in-person classes in public schools. So our COVID cases are low, right? Because schools vector COVID-19. Compared to Pennsylvania, they're just out of hand. They opened their schools. So you see, leaders make a difference. Why do you think I'm running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District? Because I'm going to be far better leader than Don Beyer, and you know that. That's why you need to vote for me on November 8th, 2022, 2 years from now. From now until 2022, November 8th, we're going to have COVID every day. Vaccine or no vaccine, you have to socially isolate. You have to wear a mask, and there will be thousands of people dying every day. Vaccine or no vaccine, it doesn't matter. Because as you know, my prediction is that none of the vaccines will work. Because logically speaking, there are thousands of strains that are constantly still mutating. Vaccine cannot work even if it is a working vaccine. And I don't think it is a working vaccine. I think like Pfizer and BioNTech, they haven't fully vetted the vaccines. It's rushed. And let's see, let's see what happens in the next few weeks and months, and the coming year to see, let's see what happens. My prediction is 3 million, 30 million Americans will die by June 2021 at the current rate of exponential growth. Unfortunately, I wish I were wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. But let's see what happens. Um, yeah, so, as I said, a lot of people are going to die. You're probably going to know someone who died. Maybe your child will die of COVID, or your husband will die of COVID, or your father or mother may die of COVID. So that is coming. Uh, Try to limit your movement. Stay inside if you don't have to go outside. Get an exercise bike or treadmill, exercise inside the home. Just try to save yourself, right? Prioritize yourself because you're the most vulnerable person in the world now. Think of it like that. I am the most vulnerable person in the world. Repeat after me. I am the most vulnerable person in the world. You have to think like that or you're not going to survive COVID, right? Because if you think someone else is more vulnerable and you're like moving around thinking you're not that vulnerable, you're going to die from COVID. So repeat after me. I am the most vulnerable person in the world. That's how you have to think of yourself. That's the way you're going to survive COVID. Um, as you know, I created this show, and I'm Heerak Christian Kim, candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, which includes Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. I created this show on April 2nd to save you and your children from COVID-19 death. Many of you in Virginia's 8th District watch this show and have taken my advice, and I'm glad that you survived. Hopefully, you will survive until June. That's the next big marker here, June 2021. Hopefully, you will survive until then. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be over then, obviously, but that's the next big marker. And then we strategize for the following marker, which will be probably like, September 1st, 2021. And the marker after that will be again like May 2022. So I mean, let's take this, journey piece by piece. Because we're in this for like 10, 20, 30 years, maybe. Um, and the goal is to survive every day, every week, every year. So you gotta take this one day at a time. Obviously, you gotta be careful and plan, but don't think the vaccine is gonna take everything away because it's not going to. Yeah, I don't believe the liberal media that promises lies. You know, yeah. I hope that you tune in tomorrow again. I'll have more important facts and data that you need to survive COVID-19. So tell everybody to watch this show, and don't forget to tune in. That may be the most important thing you do every day to survive COVID-19, to save your children from COVID-19. See you tomorrow. Bye.